going, I just wanted to give a shout out to the girls basketball coaches and the basketball team. And they're 29-0. All right, today is all about taking a break, taking a breath. It's a chance to participate in an activity, have an uninterrupted conversation, enjoying a meal, and actually tasting it, without a time clock or a bell, and actually savor a cup of coffee before it goes cold. Most importantly, it's a day to connect with your colleagues and recharge. I am thrilled to introduce our presenter today, Shelly Breen. Shelly is a children's book author, an experienced educator, coach, and leadership facilitator with a passion for empowering both students and adults. Her diverse career has taken her from K-12 classrooms and gymnasiums to collegiate teaching and coaching, as well as leadership roles in sales management and training within the WNBA and higher education. With a master's in leadership, Shelly specializes in StrengthsFinder facilitation, workshop leadership, and professional development. One of the most transformative experiences in her personal and professional journey was completing an 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction program. This experience deepened her commitment to helping others build resilience, find balance, and develop leadership skills to thrive in their roles. As a successful nonprofit founder and lifelong advocate for growth, Shelly is dedicated to helping people live their best lives and step into their true selves. She is also one of the most authentic, grounded, and inspiring individuals I've ever had the privilege of working with and calling a friend. Please help me in joining, welcoming Shelly Breen to the stage.
Good morning. Hi. Brainerd High School also made it to the state tournament last night. I'm pretty pumped about that. Congratulations to the girls basketball team. It's March Madness. I'm pretty pumped about that. It's my favorite time of year. It is my Christmas for sure. Need to have the cheers on. So I'm really appreciative to be here and in a district and community that emphasizes every kid every day. This morning, we're going to be focusing on you. And because if our tank isn't full, our own tank, we're giving from our reserves. And to the contrary, when we are living our best lives in tandem with our values every day, we then can give to others, give to children, from a place of abundance and from our overflow. And this is a gift. Having a day like this is a gift where your employer sets aside time for you to invest in you. They are investing in you. Sarah Welk is a gift, and if you know her, you know I'm right. Thank you for letting me be a part of this event. And I'm glad to be back in Monticello. It's been a few years since I visited the elementary schools as a children's book author, and that was such a wonderful experience, meeting those kids and everybody in the schools. And it seems like we keep needing this message of perseverance every day, and that was one of the things that I spoke to the kids about, using my children's books, Shelly Breen, as a role model for perseverance. I've since moved to San Francisco, so each time I'm back in Minnesota, it feels really good, and like I said, it's March Madness, so I feel awesome. And one of my former basketball high school opponents is here, Lori. You saw her earlier. Where's Lori? There you are. I won't share any stories, like I said. And then there's this guy that I really admired as a kid, growing up watching him play sports. You know him as your AD, Gary Remney. Where are you? There, back there. So I grew up watching Gary and really admired him and his family. So just more connections to Monticello. As a matter of fact, I scored my 1,000th point in basketball in high school against Monticello. If I could get a movie right now. I'm going to transition a little bit here though. So, the monarch butterfly. is just like what we have inside of us. Like the butterfly, we too have the ability to shed our old selves, emerging stronger, wiser, and more beautiful than before. It also symbolizes strength and resilience. It embarks on an incredible migration, traveling thousands of miles, guided by its internal compass. However, the remarkable journey is not without its hardships, just like our lives. And along the way, it faces all kinds of challenges, just like we do. But it's resilient, and it has an unwavering determination to complete its migration, a powerful reminder of the strength of perseverance. I've been reflecting a lot on the start of 2025 and what is different about this year than others. So many things. And yet, amid the chaos and confusion and passionate debates, at the start and end of every day, we have ourselves and our own life journey. It begins and ends with us every day. So let's talk a little bit about wellness. The Oxford Dictionary defines wellness as the state of being in good health, especially as an actively pursued goal. And the Global Wellness Institute defines it as the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyles that lead to a state of holistic health. Edwards Air Force Base actually has its own 4 dimensions of wellness, and they promote this to the service members and their families. Each one has a corresponding checklist with it. The first, spiritual wellness, they define as the spiritual strength, the force that drives us to make sacrifices for others, our nation, and the greater good. It may come from religious faith, heritage, experience in our community, or other sources of inspiration. And the checklist question, and for you to think about, is do you have a prayer or meditation routine? Do you set aside time for relaxation and quiet? Emotional wellness refers to a building of an awareness and accepting of one's feelings and moods. It includes finding ways to encourage positive thinking and acceptance of yourself. Are you able to make decisions and complete activities with minimum stress or worry? Is there something that you look forward to in life? Number 3, physical wellness. Expanding your knowledge about your lifestyle and how good food and nutrition, physical activity can be a part of your integral lifestyle. Checklist. Do you participate regularly in aerobic activity? Do you get adequate sleep? You wake up feeling refreshed. And then finally, social wellness. Social wellness entails being cognizant of the impact you and your actions have on your community, the society, and nature. Being cognizant of the impact you and your actions have on your community, the society, and nature. Those are big. Do you set aside time and plan to be with your family and friends? Do you feel that your relationships are positive, rewarding? Are you involved in group activities or hobbies? And how easy it can be to be bombarded with messages at the start of every new year about ways to improve yourself. Make changes in your own spiritual, physical, social, emotional wellness checklist. Drink less or not at all. Try new supplements. Withhold gluten. Meditate. Run more. Do less. Get that degree. Spend less. Invest more. Sounds familiar, right? You know the drill. It can even be daunting just to create a list. And it can be overwhelming every year to repeat these patterns of making change, only to be disheartened and disappointed when we fail to keep that change sustainable. Some folks stop making resolutions altogether. And sometimes, because we're often stuck in patterns we've had since a really young age. Unlike the modern butterfly, we can become held back by our generational migration and evolution. Patterns that we aren't even aware of consciously. Patterns that we're passing down to the next generation of our family. Stories that we believe about ourselves. Phrases or stories that we continue to repeat as if they bring us comfort, rather than exploring if they're actually true. Such as, we don't do that in our family. Or, I've never really been an athlete. I could never afford that. I don't have time for that. I'm not good enough. I'm too much. This is good enough. These sayings and stories can sometimes provide us comfort because they're familiar. And well, when you say something often enough, it tends to feel true. Sometimes these stories give us a sense of belonging. Belonging to a family, belonging to a community, belonging to a group of friends. The stories might even be true, but does that mean that they have to be true, or be true forever? There are those rare few who have had success in making long-term lasting shifts in their lives for the better. And the question is, what do they got that I ain't got? We're going to talk a little bit about courage. As I was preparing this, it was really annoying. I could not stop hearing the Cowardly Lion's voice in my head. I was like, I gotta go slide that. This past January, as part of my life coaching practices, New Year's launch, I introduced New Year True You as an antidote to New Year New You. Why do we have to be new? Why reinvent ourselves? Like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, I believe firmly that it's been in us all along. And so, what if the true you is already wired to be awesome and for you to live your best life? What if instead of recreating ourselves, we got to know our true selves? Our wants, our needs, our talents and strengths, our light. What if we dug deeper into uncovering what moves us? What charges our batteries? What makes us feel alive? What sights and sounds and smells and tastes bring us joy? And what connections bring out the best in us? My personal life of transitions, getting to know the true me, is a great example of creating the life that we truly want to live. And I make no claims that it's been easy, but I can guarantee that it has created ease. So first I want to take a step back, share a little bit more about me personally and outside of Sarah's beautiful introduction. I am going to touch on a couple of sensitive topics, and so I feel like it's important that you see me right here, right now. It's March 7th, 2025, I'm 50 years old, I'm okay. Right? I survived and I'm living my best life right now. But that wasn't the case for most of my time here on Earth. I was a victim. I became a survivor, and now I'm thriving. At a really early age, I was quite neglected. I was left alone for significant amounts of time, often left in environments where my caregivers were drunk or high or both. I had multiple babysitters, multiple evenings a week, sometimes for a week or more at a time. At age 6, I was hit by a pickup truck that had a plow on it while crossing the street, suffering a severe head injury and a permanent dent in my hip from the curve of the plow. I was sexually abused by more than one neighbor from the age of 6 to 15, experiencing hundreds of assaults. I made my way through life putting on a good and smiling face, succeeding in sports, leadership roles, becoming homecoming queen, getting a lot of praise. On the outside, things looked like a dream life, but on the inside, I was literally dying. I was in high school when I started to experience my first anxiety attacks. I rarely slept at night. I was having flashbacks of the abuse, but I thought I was just crazy and sick because nobody had actually confirmed to me that abuse had happened, even though everybody knew about it. We just stopped talking about it, and I blocked it out. Why in the world would I come up with these crazy, sick dreams? It was also in high school that I began to see that I was different than my friends. I wasn't sure why or how, I just knew that I was. Something about me didn't fit in, which really didn't make sense because I was very popular and successful. And later I would uncover that I was gay, a trait that I was taught would land me in hell for eternity. So, early in my junior year of high school, I planned my suicide attempt. I even practiced it, only to have my plan thwarted by my mom, who had snooped into my room like a good Catholic mother and read my plans in my journal. I was provided some counseling for a while. Then, in college, after captaining the golf team, being the rugby team president, and playing in the Division III Final Four, all by the start of my sophomore year, I had a back injury and subsequent surgery that ended all of my playing. Battling the internal homophobia confirmation of my sex abuse history, and no longer having the outlet of being a star athlete put me over the edge. By 20, I attempted suicide with a bottle of pills after a night I had a drink. My roommate saved my life, but I was lost, unsure of what to do next. What were the stories that I had learned or created for myself that I carried into later adulthood? I'm not enough without my accomplishments. I'm too much. I'm too big physically, too emotional. I'm going to hell. Duty equals love. I am not the right one. That's the big one right there. I have 4 older brothers. My parents desperately wanted a girl. And after attempting to get a daughter, winding up with 4 sons, then having 2 miscarriages following those brothers, they were ready to give up. Then they explored adoption, and they went almost all the way through the process and decided in the end they'd give it one more try. When the doctor told my parents after an exam that they should prepare for their 5th boy, they were devastated. Until May 5th, 1974, when I arrived. The girl they always wanted. I was the youngest on both sides of my family, over 40 older cousins, and it was well known how important and exciting it was for our family to have a girl. Shelly Breen. I heard this story over and over and over about how that would be. My mom dressed me up like Shirley Temple, she permed my hair, took me shopping with my aunts, and all the while I heard over and over from my older cousins as they would get married. Go to the family weddings. Shelly, your dad is going to throw you the greatest wedding of this family. I was the one that they wanted, until I wasn't. I hated dresses. I hated shopping. I wanted short hair. I wanted to play sports, not dolls. I wanted to go hunting with my dad and my brothers, not to the mall and dinner with my mom and aunts. I wanted to pick up my own clothes. I wanted to be me. But over and over, I heard that me wasn't the right one. Fast forward to uncovering that I was gay, and I certainly believed I wasn't the right one. I lived my life with a feeling like a heavy weighted blanket. Sure, I went on to an adulthood, and I've done really cool things. Teaching high school, middle school, coaching high school, college sports. Started a nonprofit to help Minnesota girls who couldn't afford to play sports. Worked in the WNBA for the Minnesota Lynx, had an office at Madison Square Garden, started publishing books, traveled, married a woman, built a home, mentored many kids and adults, but I was still feeling stuck, and I'm sure some of you can relate to that. I knew that there was more to living and my personal moments, but I wasn't sure what or how. So I blamed others. I blamed my spouse for not providing me enough joy. I blamed the economy for my income level and my lack of satisfaction. I complained about the Catholic Church for the messages I received and for funding me and disrupting my faith life. I complained all the time, and I was sick of complaining. I was looking out at others over and over to provide me with joy and peace, serenity and sense of belonging, and then I realized that the common denominator was me. In order to win, I had to look within. So at age 42, I began to change my life, and it began to change. I took a mindfulness course, as Sarah mentioned, at the University of Minnesota, mindfulness stress-based reduction, and it started to rewire my brain, reduce my anxiety. I got a therapist. And my therapist had prescribed me to read out loud a list of 23 affirmations while looking in the mirror every day. Sound familiar? I think you know something like that. The first few days were terrible. I couldn't even get through the first 3 affirmations. I did not believe them. Number 1, I love myself unconditionally and I enjoy being the unique person that I am. Try it on for yourself right now. I love myself unconditionally and I enjoy being the unique person that I am. For me, hard no. I had many conditions for loving me. Always had, and I was taught that duty equals love. So how do I do that for myself unconditionally? Number 2, I have ample leisure time and deserve to find, create, and feel joy. Nope, I don't deserve anything. I'm a mistake. I'm not the right one. I've been fooling people by covering up who I am. Hell, I grew up with shame. Can I say hell? I grew up with shame as the main language of my family. So of course I don't deserve to fly and pray and feel joy. And then number 3, I am a fallible human being who makes mistakes. Shucks. If I'm allowed to make mistakes, then how can I possibly hold on to all this resentment I have for the people around me who have made mistakes and hurt me? That resentment is comfortable and familiar, and I did not want to let it go. So I kept practicing day after day because I trusted my therapist. I grew my capacity to finish the sentences without scoffing. I grew my capacity to consider the possibility that these affirmations could be true. I grew my capacity to look at myself in the mirror. What if number 11 is actually true? I do not have to prove myself to anyone. I need only express myself as honestly and effectively as I'm capable. Or number 12, my emotional well-being is dependent primarily on how I love me. 17, I have an obligation to take my space in this world. I deserve to be on this planet. After months of exploring these affirmations and the ways in which I was stuck in the pain, stuck in my past, stuck in being a human doing, hardly a human being, and not at all a human living, I dared to ask myself, who do I want to be in this world? How do I want to show up moving forward? If my life ends soon, I want to make the most of the time that I have. And if it lasts for decades, I truly want to live it. So what does that mean for me? What even lights me up? Who are the people that I'm surrounding myself with? And how do they support these affirmations in me? Several years ago, as I was stuck and contemplating New Year's on this wellness journey, I had done resolutions, but they were more a way of reflecting on what was bad or wrong about me, needing a new me in body or relationship. So it was empty. And, I would think about, I'll lose 10 pounds by Easter. I'll do yoga 5 days a week. I'll save money. All of the things, right? And just a couple months into working with my therapist on my PTSD, I also began caregiving for my dad, who had recently been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Things were shifting inside me and outside me. So it came to me that rather than eliminating ways of behaving or creating a new me, I wanted to define the criteria for how I wanted to be in the world moving forward. What came out of this reflection were the pillars of a foundation for living my best life, and I want to share them with you. My hope is that they will encourage you to live your best life. They are courage, clarity, compass, and compassion. And yes, that is the tattoo on my forearm. So courage. The ability to control fear and to be willing to deal with something that is dangerous, difficult, or unpleasant. The ability to do something that frightens us. For me, that means the willingness to do hard things, face hard truths, have difficult conversations, and be uncomfortable. I'm a codependent in recovery. One of my greatest survival skills has been to please others, make peace, not rock the boat, take the burden off of others, and it helped me feel safe around volatile people. It also fit in with the image that my mother had, which was couched in being selfless and putting others before herself. Being courageous and beginning to uncover what I wanted and what I needed out of my life was incredibly scary. I hadn't really thought about what my criteria for living was. Who was Shelly Breen all on her own? My identities were always tied to my accomplishments, or sports, or the relationships that I had to others. So when I began to be my most courageous and dig deeper, it forced me to make more courageous decisions, especially about the people who were in my life and who weren't healthy for me. I've done a lot of courageous things in my life. Standing here in front of you is one of them. And I've done a lot of intense healing and therapy. I ended relationships that weren't healthy for me. I started businesses. I got the surgery I always needed. And I cared for my dad while he was dying from Alzheimer's. I even moved across the country. But all these things needed a great deal of input from pillar number 2, which is clarity. The quality of being clear and easy to understand. For me, in order to easily understand how I got to where I am and feeling safe and courageous, I needed to ask more questions. I needed more information. And that was the only way I could move forward, was to courageously ask these questions and dig deeper. So it's not hard for you to imagine like driving down 94 as the snow is melting and the windshield is splattered with mud. Passing cars makes it difficult to see, right? We try the wipers, which only smears the mud and messes it up more until we tap that ever-precious button and the wiper fluid comes out. It clears away a path for safe vision and safe driving. Much of my life, I was living with the wipers on a dirty windshield. I had awareness about the trials and traumas that were part of my life, but I hadn't done the hard work of healing yet. I hadn't yet learned how it impacted my relationship with myself or others. And once I dug in, I was able to use that wiper fluid, often in the form of tears, but it became much more clear, like a nice clean windshield on a sunny day. Having that clarity also came with relearning how to lean into pillar number 3, which is compass. Traditional definition is a device for finding direction with a needle that can easily move and that always points to magnetic north. My compass is my gut instinct. When I am dialed in and I actually shut up and listen, it tells me what I need to know. And it always points to my true north. Much of my life I was in relationship with people who impacted my understanding of my gut instincts. As early as I can remember, I would feel that something wasn't right at home or in the neighborhood. A feeling about a person or situation, such as fighting between my dad and my brother. But I was told over and over, we don't talk about that. Don't make a big deal out of it, Shelly. Or the implied but unspoken, if we dress up, have nice things, and sit up front in church, everything's fine. But I knew something was wrong. I was being abused. Drunken fights were not okay. My mom was not okay. Addiction was everywhere around me. And not talking about it didn't make it okay. It made me question my instincts. My compass was being messed with, gaslit. Even the most simple of things. I just want you to know, my mother and I have resolved all of our things. What I'm talking about here. But I would gag whenever I smelled or ate onions. And my mom would say, Mom, is there onions in this sauce? Oh, no. That's just celery. It's just celery. You can eat it. And I'd try it, and I'd gag, and I'd cry. And she'd say, oh, geez, it's not that bad. Once again, my instincts were being messed with. My intimate relationships involved a lot of gaslighting, too. I knew that there was a disconnect happening at times. Cheating, something like that. And over they would deny it. But it made me question my reality. I felt, for lack of a better term, I felt crazy, only to find out that indeed they had been cheating. And I knew that my instincts were right. In that healing process, I began to remove people in my life, or set boundaries with people. And that meant no longer living my energy and giving my energy to these gaslighters. It was a recalibration of my internal compass. And that compass began to point to true north, which is me. The final C, it's really my favorite, is compassion. A strong feeling of sympathy and sadness for the suffering or bad luck of others, and a wish to help them. I needed to have compassion for myself first, before I could have compassion for others. In my life coaching practice, I hear over and over how people berate themselves when they make a mistake. Some of the most unkind things we ever hear are things we have told ourselves. There are smaller parts inside each one of us who have been our greatest coping tools, but those coping tools were never meant to be used forever. For me, this compassion for myself first, then others, bucked the codependent narrative. Duty no longer equal love. Reciting those affirmations day after day taught me that I am lovable. I am loved. I deserve to be on this planet. I I have unique skills and gifts to share. I am worthy of healthy relationships. I love me. And the more I love me, the more I have love for others. It overflows from my full cup. My self-compassion opened my heart to begin the healing process with my mom. We're best friends. At 83 years old, she continues to grow and evolve and be a role model for me. Imagine what our world would look like if more people leaned into their courage to seek clarity to heal, grow their internal compass, leading to greater self-compassion. How much more love and peace we would have. When a monarch butterfly graces your presence, it's more than just a brief moment of beauty. It's a profound symbol with deep spiritual meaning. The delicate landing of a butterfly carries a message of transformation and growth, gently nudging you from the universe to embrace change and find courage on your journey. As it undergoes its metamorphosis, you're reminded of your own potential for clarity, personal growth, and evolution. Similarly, when you witness the landing and the release of a butterfly, it is breathtaking. It embodies joy and positivity, a promise of fresh beginnings. And as it takes flight, guided by its inner compass, it serves as a powerful reminder that every ending opens the door to new opportunities. It encourages you to release your past, live fully in the present, and step confidently into the future. This symbolism stretches across all cultures, representing resilience with the importance of self-compassion, and it extends that self-compassion to others. So the next time a butterfly crosses your path, take a moment to reflect on this deeper meaning, and you'll start seeing them coming through again on their migration really soon. Let it inspire your own journey toward wellness. I want to leave you with a daily meditation that I practice. I've modified it slightly from the loving kindness meditation, if any of you are familiar. And I invite you actually to practice with me now, if you are willing. So everybody just kind of takes a deep breath. Get comfortable in your seats. If you need to wiggle around a little bit, you can. And if you're comfortable, take a moment to close your eyes. And if closing your eyes isn't comfortable, maybe just find a spot somewhere to fixate in. I want you to imagine something, the most lovely thing you can imagine. Something that brings you joy in your heart, warmth and peace in your body. Take a minute to imagine that thing or person now. And just notice how you feel in your body as you're thinking about that. And now, using that energy in your body, we're going to direct loving kindness back to you. I'd like you to repeat after me. And you're welcome to do it out loud in your head. It's beautiful when we can all do it together. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I feel loved. Take a deep breath. We're going to do another one. I want you to imagine now somebody that you love very much. Recall that feeling of warmth and joy in your body, and we're going to send it to that person that you love. Repeat after me. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you feel loved. Okay. Now I want you to imagine somebody that you're having difficulty with in your life. This is the hardest one. Recall that feeling in your body of joy, and peace, and warmth, and we're going to send it to this person that you're having difficulty with. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you feel loved. You can open your eyes. And this one, I would like us to do, like, just being aware of where we're at. Okay? That's why I asked you to open your eyes if you're closed. I want you to imagine the entire world. Every person, every creature, every living thing, everyone everywhere, and send them that joy and peace and warmth that you have. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you feel love. Thank you for all of your love and care of children. Thank you for listening to me today. Considering your overall wellness, it matters. You matter. And I will be doing that loving kindness meditation for all of you again tonight and tomorrow morning. Thank you for having me. I just wanted to, I am doing an online workshop, 4-part series starting April 8th. There's 75-minute sessions where we will be digging deeper into those 4 C's, doing some self-reflection, and then, if you have kids in your life, little ones, ages 4 to 9, I'll be doing a books their own time afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you guys for being a great audience today. Hopefully you feel a little centered, a little regulated. Thank you, Shelly, for being here today and sharing your words of wisdom and encouragement and guidance. Today, as we finish up the morning, you guys can head back to your buildings and follow your building schedules and do your Infinitech. So, thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day.
The winter one, or the pool one, since we're doing that right now. Like the ones that, like the winter one or the pool one, since we're doing seasons. That doesn't mean we have to do that. Soccer.
We do have this.
The soccer one?
No,
The baseball one? Or I'm thinking about Evan since he's into basketball. Can you picture him?